We're here in San Francisco, and we're on San Francisco's waterfront, the Embarcadero, which runs all the way along the city from its south borders all the way up to Fisherman's Wharf. But this isn't the original waterfront. It's at least 4 or 5 blocks up that way. We're going to take you to a unique bar, the oldest bar in San Francisco. And we're going to take you there on this episode of the Attitude Adjustment Hour.
At one point in history, San Francisco was known as the greatest port city in the world. The current shoreline runs along the Embarcadero with piers lined up south of AT&T Park all the way north past the ferry building to Fisherman's Wharf. But this is a far cry from the original boundaries of the city. Several blocks west, you can find close to the original shoreline where ships used to dock during the gold rush of 1849.
We're here in Hodling Alley during the big fire and the big earthquake, 1906. This was a liquor distributor. This was a big liquor warehouse. So they got a mile-long fire hose to run from the water. It wasn't that far at the time, but it's not as far, it's not as far as the Embarcadero was. But they got it all the way up here, and they said, all the booze you want, just keep this place going. So the building's still here. Beautiful old building, pre-1906. So this is Gold Street, and the waterfront was right here. It came along here, and guys would come in because the gold rush was on, 1849, and Bix was actually a gold assay office. So hence the name Gold Street, makes a lot of sense. But right up here we got Balance Street. And you think, okay, what does it have to do? Gold, weighing, balance, right? Has nothing to do with it. Right here on Balance Street is a ship buried, and it was called the Balance. Hey now. So here we are on the corner of Pacific and Battery. The Battery ran along here, water line going up that way. And we are at the oldest bar in San Francisco. We're at the Old Ship Saloon. Come on inside, let's check it out.
I'm Bill Duffy, the proprietor here at the Old Ship Saloon, and I have been in the bar business since I was 21 years old. I was in the restaurant business since I was 18.
21 years old, where'd you start?
Actually, my first official shift solo by myself was at a place called the Bull and Finch Pub in Boston. I lived in Boston for 2 years.
Which is which bar?
Which is the Cheers bar.
Amazing.
But I worked there before the TV show became a big hit on television. I'm originally from Chicago.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Suburban Chicago, northwest.
So how did you at a young age get to Boston?
My dad's job started moving around when I was, I'm the youngest of 4 in my family. We moved to New York City, lived in Staten Island for 3 years.
Oh, really?
And then that was my first 3 years of high school, and then moved to San Francisco here. Spent a few years in San Francisco. My dad ended up moving back to New York. His job was...
What the hell did he do?
He was working for American presidents. In
oh, beautiful. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so his job
was...
was...
a long-lost career there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jobs left in that field in the United States.
No doubt.
But his job fortunately took me to those 2 great cities. First New York, and then here to San Francisco. Of course, I fell in love with San Francisco immediately. So I was kind of in the right place at the right time.
Nice.
And so January 1st, 1992 was my first day in business here at Briggs Bar.
Excellent. You've been here ever since?
And I've been here
thriving?
Yeah, it's been up and down along the way, but for the most part, much more thriving than not.
It's the Old Ship Saloon.
Yes. The Old Ship. The name comes from the original saloon was aboard the Gold Rush ship, the Arkansas.
The ship came in here. What was the name of it?
The ship was called the Arkansas.
Okay.
It was a 3-masted sailing vessel that came around the Cape, So
and this was in 1849. So
1849.
the gold rush was on.
The gold rush was on, and many ships were already here in port in December of 1849 when the Arkansas arrived. The ship was anchored off of Alcatraz overnight on its first night, and many of the ships were already here. The Arkansas got pulled ashore in this outstanding location, but the ships were literally packed so close that you could walk all across ships, all across the
amazing,
water,
just
across
all
that coast.
And a lot of them just abandoned. Right?
Many of them were abandoned,
Yeah.
especially ships that were not captained by the owner of the vessel.
Okay, they said, "The hell with it, I'm going to get some money."
They were all going to go try to find gold up in the Gold
That's
Coast.
great.
Yeah, so captain and crew.
So the old ship, the Arkansas, was here, and who decided to take over and make it into a different, entity than a ship?
Right. The first owner of the Saloon here was a man by the name of Joseph Anthony, and he arrived from New York in 1851, and he was listed his business as liquor importer, so he brought liquor with him, and he contracted with the owner of the ship, still the captain, Captain Shepard, and asked if he could rent the area below the main deck at the fore of the ship.
Really? So people would go up on the deck, like with a gangplank, whatever.
Correct.
And then go down into whatever.
Well, actually, what he did was he cut a hole in the bow of the ship in the side.
Oh, that's excellent.
And he set the gangplank between the pier, the Pacific Street, and the hole in the ship.
Now, bottom line, the Arkansas wasn't going anywhere once it was grounded.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to stay there.
So the old ship Saloon. We're looking at it. It doesn't look like a ship.
No.
Somebody had built a building in place of the ship, I'm guessing.
That's correct. And the first building that was built in this location and supplanted the ship, there's every reason to believe that the hull of the ship still rests beneath this building.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's seems to be the way they did things back then. So a two-story brick building was erected over the top of the hull of the ship, we're guessing, in 1857 or 1858.
Okay.
And so that was the first solid building that was here, and it took over for the ship. And in 06, that building had similar large windows to these.
Right.
And the building in 1906 caved in on the Pacific Street side.
Okay.
And
because the city was just destroyed, anybody that doesn't know history, the big earthquake, the big fire and earthquake.
That's right.
And it just rattled all these unsupported brick buildings.
It did cave in on that Pacific Street side, like I said. And then it was a two-story brick building at the time. And so they tore the remainder of the building down, probably recycled many of these bricks that are used in this building now, and rebuilt a three-story brick building, which is the building that sits here now.
And it's a beautiful old building from 1906, 1907?
1907.
1907. I mean, it's a gorgeous old brick. It's a shame when they do something across the street because there's such great historic buildings in this area along Pacific, which was international settlement, and the Barbary coast is what it was, right?
Pacific Street was ground zero for San Francisco, is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's where everything began, right here on this street.
Shanghai's lady dancers.
It was definitely no place for respectable citizens to be seen hanging around.
Right. Any women down here would be questionable, eh?
Professional. We have definitely taken the scary out of this neighborhood in the last 50, 60 years.
So if you're at a classic old saloon, you got to have a classic old drink, don't you?
Hi, my name's Paulie Fuller. I'm the bartender here at the Old Ship Saloon, and I think we're going to make you a Pisco Punch today. We're going to start with a little Pisco, Peruvian liquor.
Is it a brandy, Paulie?
It's a brandy style liquor. It almost reminds me of an Italian grappa. If you just drink it straight. So we use about 2 ounces of the Pisco, add about 2 to 3 ounces of pineapple juice. We'll add a little Arabic gum syrup to that.
What's in there, Paulie? What is this?
We have pineapples in there for a little garnish.
Nice.
We're going to shake it up real vigorously. Pour it in.
We're actually going to squeeze a lime in it.
We normally splash a little soda on that and garnish it with a little pineapple.
So give us the ingredients again. We're talking about Pisco Punch.
We'll start over here. We'll do 2 ounces of Pisco, 2 to 3 ounces of pineapple juice. We'll add juice of a fresh lime, shake it up real good, and then top it off with a little soda water. And we got your Old Ship Saloon's Pisco Punch.
Beautiful. Love it. Okay. And it changed again. I like it. I like the lime in it. It's beautiful. A little citrus now. The soda water took away a little bit of the syrupy flavor, and you know the Pisco's in it, and that's some kick-ass booze. It's a beautiful thing. Skull, Pisco Punch, Barbary Coast, to the Old Ship Saloon.
Long may she sail.
Thank you, Paul. That's beautiful. Okay, so how would it have changed from 1989, 1990, cocktails being ordered, to today? What would you see the difference in the bar?
Let's see. The martini was much more, you're right about martinis at lunch and vodka sodas and much more basic kinds of drinks.
Right.
Nowadays at lunch, not that many people do drink at lunch, and when they do, they're probably drinking beer or wine.
Beer,
and for the most part.
And you guys got a good selection of tap beers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest seller here?
That's got to be San Francisco's own Anchor Steam.
Yeah, people love that too.
I think it's a really well-crafted beer, and we keep our lines nice and clean here. And
important, right?
Very cold beer, and it's exactly. And it's just it's just a really it's a great product.
Yeah, people haven't tried it.
I swear by it.
It's right on. And the thing about it is, it's actually one of the first microbrews.
Yes,
but this may have been the first one. Although it is an old brewery, right? Over in the Potrero district, been there forever.
Right.
And then what? Fritz Maytag of the Maytag family.
That's right.
Brought him back.
Fritz has vowed to stay on and look after the way that the beer is made and everything like that. So
now are you old? Not old enough, but were you in the city long enough to remember? Because us growing up here as kids, this was a big brewery town.
Correct. Yeah, the Hams Brewery and the
You
Falstaff
remember?
Brewery. Yeah,
Because we did.
I remember it mostly as in shambles. The building, you could see it from the freeway, and it had been closed down.
And was the goblet gone?
I think so. Yeah, I think by that
Bill,
time.
this was the greatest thing. I'm telling you, the greatest neon piece ever, bar none. Boston has its Sitco sign or whatever that is, and isn't that the one over the fender?
Yeah, exactly.
This was a goblet of beer that would fill with golden brew, a white head that would overflow, and then visit the beer.
Wow.
It would empty and refill over and over. And as kids, oh my God, Seal Stadium was right near there.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing ever.
That's
and
right.
I actually have friends that worked at Ham's Beer and tell us the stories.
All right.
But it's great that there's still Anchor Steam here, and there are the microbrews in town, right?
Yes. Well, Anchor Steam was microbrew before nobody knew what to call it.
Before, there was no microbrew.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, it's an amazing story that they did manage to keep going for all those years against the big brewery. The big one.
Don't let me speak for you, my friend. But no, probably one of the reasons we just talked about it. You love it because it's San Francisco.
It has a lot to do with it. And I think that when it comes to beer, freshness is a key ingredient.
Definitely.
And so it's rolling right off of Potrero Hill, almost down into our basement. The Old Ship Saloon. We are on the corner of Battery and Pacific in downtown San Francisco. It's formerly known as the Barbary Coast. This is the place where San Francisco was born, and Pacific Street was the main drag of the Barbary Coast back in 1849 and during the gold rush years after that. It's a historic saloon, the oldest in town, but we are very updated. We've got fantastic outfitting for watching sports. We do a tremendous happy hour after work Monday through Friday here, and it's a very convivial, friendly place. You're going to like it.
So for a taste of old San Francisco, and I'm talking gold rush days, you got to come on down to the corner of Pacific and Battery Streets and have a great drink with the nice people here at the Old Ship Saloon. You're going to love it.
You can catch the show either at aahour.com or on Facebook. Look for AA Hour. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Den Cruz, DENCRUZ, all one word. And I love your feedback and suggestions. Email me at aahour@yahoo.com.
So hopefully I've lubricated the thought process for you a little bit. I'm Dennis Cruz, and thanks for joining me on the Attitude Adjustment Hour.